Hi, I'm Lee. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm a short, overweight, middle-aged white dude. I've got thinning brown hair, black glasses, I'm wearing a blue polo shirt, and I'm sitting in an office with a few colored lights behind me. And in this video, we're going to be having a look at the new iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. Yeah, so I just got these half an hour ago, so this isn't going to be a review because you can't really do a review in half an hour. But I want to do a first impressions, first look, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's get on with the unboxing. I don't really see the point in these unboxing videos, but people seem interested. So let's go ahead and unbox the blue iPhone first. And I do like the fact that they've got these tabs, which I've managed to stuff up on here that make it supposedly easier to open. Oh, I've made a mess. Okay, close enough. There we go. And there we go. There is the blue iPhone. And it comes with a coiled cable and a SIM card removal tool. And that's pretty much it. I think that's the USB-C stuff. And, oh, as my son would say, that is very satisfying. And there we go. There is your blue iPhone 16. And we'll turn that on and let that have a think about things. And let's go ahead and open up the 16 Pro. Let's see if I can do a better job this time. Yep, that's better. And I've stuffed that one up again. Again, the tool, USB-C cable, and that's it. And oh, again, yes, very satisfying. And we'll turn that on, and there is the unboxing of the 16 and the 16 Pro. So now let's get down into the nitty-gritty of the actual phone. So this is the iPhone 16. I really like the new colors. This is aquamarine, or it's blue. I like the blue. Let's just call it blue. I don't know. Oh, it's avocado. It's just it's green. It's blue. I suppose the type of green is fair enough, but just it's a very nice blue. In fact, it matches the shirt almost. It's pure coincidence. I'm really not that coordinated. Let's get on to the phone. Physically, it looks about the same as last year. The main difference physically that you can tell right away is that the cameras are not diagonal from each other, but up and down or across that way. What that affords you is you can now capture spatial video and spatial photos with iPhone 16. So that's really cool if you have a Vision Pro or think you're going to get a Vision Pro sometime in the future, or you've got a friend or what have you, and you want to capture that stuff. I've been capturing, I don't have a Vision Pro, but I've been capturing stuff on my iPhone 15 Pro for quite a while in Spatial, just because I think further down the track, I'd like to save those memories in spatial format. So I think even if you don't have a Vision Pro at the moment, I think there is definitely, benefit and value in capturing stuff in Spatial now that you can with iPhone 16. While we're on the cameras, and I'm not going to go too deep into details with the camera now because I want to cover a lot of the camera stuff in iPhone 16 Pro. By the way, the only difference, as far as I can tell, with the main cameras and the features of the cameras between iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro is that the iPhone 16 Pro can now capture 4K 120 frames per second, so you can slow-mo your stuff by 4 times. We'll show you that in a bit. So the main thing in terms of cameras with the iPhone 16 is you now have a Fusion camera, 48 megapixels is your main camera, that has a 2x zoom. And you also have the ultra wide with a few upgrades, as well as it now does a lot better focus and autofocus with the ultra wide. And what that allows you to do is you can now get really good focused macro shots. So you can do stuff like that. Not that you should, but you can, which is kind of, oh, that is freaky. That is, hey, how's it going? So yeah, that's some of the camera functions. The other big thing of the camera upgrades is you now have the camera control. Now that is a button, and for some reason Apple doesn't want to call it a button. I don't know why, but that is the camera control button, and I'll cover that in a little bit again when we look at iPhone 16 Pro. But the main thing that I'm not a huge fan of, that I've noticed just in the brief little 10-20 minutes that I've been playing around with it, is where the button is. So the button is all the way over here, and I can see if I was taking photos vertically like this in portrait mode, then I can understand like my thumb lands right on the button right there, so that makes perfect sense. But if I'm shooting video, I suppose, yeah, so I would say it's more camera focused. Sorry, I would say it's more photo focused than it is video focused, because if I'm shooting like this and I'm trying to get I do have small hands, I will admit that, but I've got to kind of reach across, whereas if it was here, it would make more sense for my finger to land here, whereas my finger's got to land there. So it's not ideal when you're shooting like this, but it is in a really good position if you're shooting vertically. So interesting that they did that. The other button that's been added to the iPhone 16 is the action button, and what this allows you to do, as the name would suggest, it allows you to perform actions. Now, up until now, the action button, what I've used it on my 15 Pro is to launch the Blackmagic camera app, but you can have it launch your flashlight, you can have it launch your translate system. The most interesting thing they can do is that it can launch a shortcut, and I'll probably do a whole video at some point about what shortcuts are, but I know this isn't technically accurate, but this is sort of the way I'm going to describe it, is shortcuts is like programming a little bit, but it's like this thing called if then that. So if I do this, then you should do that. So if this happens, then do that, then do that, then do that, and so on. So for example, a really fancy shortcut that you could set up, so a not too fancy shortcut is you could say push your action button, which launches a shortcut, which then opens up the blinds in your lounge, turns on your fake fire in the study, and unlocks the back door. I don't know why you would do that, but that's just what came to my brain right now, which is welcome to my brain. So the action button you now have on the iPhone 16, where before you only had it on the iPhone 15 Pros, not the iPhone 15s. So those are the buttons that have been added to the iPhone 16. In terms of other things that they've added to the iPhone 16, it's got a faster processor. I don't think you're really going to notice on most everyday stuff. When the Apple Intelligence stuff comes out in a few months' time, then you might notice the faster processor. But even if you don't notice the speed now, I think the advantage of having the faster processor is the fact that if you're hanging onto your phone for 2, 3, 4, 5, however many years, the faster the processor is now, the longer it's going to, work for you going into the future. So I think the fact that it's got a faster processor, even though you may not benefit hugely from it right now, is still going to be a decent benefit. The other thing is you have faster wireless charging. So you've got the MagSafe on the back there. Now it is up to 25 watts. One thing to be aware of is if you're using the Apple wireless MagSafe charger that sucks onto there, you need the new one to do the 25 watts. This will work with older wireless chargers, and the older wireless chargers will work with the new phones, but you've got to have, no, I didn't say that right, did I? The older chargers will work with the new phones, but you won't get the faster speeds unless you use the new charger. The new charger will work with older phones, but again, you won't get the fastest speeds. So for the fastest wireless charging speeds, you need the new phone and the new wireless charger. Having said that, it's interesting that they've done, I'm glad they've done it, don't get me wrong, but I find like when I'm like my iPhone 15 Pro is just sitting right here on my desk charging up on a wireless charger, and I find when I'm doing wireless charging, most of the time, I'm not in a hurry to charge the phone. Like it's sitting on my desk while I'm working for a few hours, or it's sitting next to my bed while I'm asleep. So, and let me know in the comments if your use case is different, but at least with my use case, when I'm using a wireless charger, I don't need it to charge there quickly. I'm always happy to have faster charging, but I find for wireless charging, the speed wasn't bothering me, but let me know if your mileage is different. So faster charging. It is still waterproof up to, I think, 6 meters for 30 minutes. It's interesting that they put the 30-minute, does the water get wetter after 30 minutes? I know why they do it, but it just seems seems odd that they have to give that stipulation of, well, you can put it in water, but don't leave it in there for more than 30 minutes. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the stuff I want to talk about with iPhone 16. There is other features about it, but it's features that are shared with the iPhone 16 Pro, and so I want to look at those features on the iPhone 16 Pro, and I'll mention, you get these same features on the iPhone 16 as well. Now, let's have a look at the iPhone 16 Pro. So here is my iPhone 16 Pro, here is my iPhone 15 Pro, and if you looked at them like that next to each other, you can hardly tell the difference. But if you look at the screens, and if you look really closely, and this is what I'm noticing sort of on my first impression, is I can definitely tell that the iPhone 16 Pro is a little bit bigger. They've definitely made the bezel smaller, which making the screen bigger and making the bezel smaller and making the phone a little bit bigger, the screen definitely looks and feels a bit bigger than the 15 Pro. Not hugely, but it's noticeable. Another thing that I noticed, again, I normally get the Pro model phones. So having now gotten a 16, just a 16, not the Pro model, the weight difference is definitely noticeable. So if you're looking for a lighter phone, iPhone 16 is definitely something to go. Not that the 16 Pro is hugely, oh my God, it's so heavy, but it's definitely got more weight than the iPhone 16 does. So in terms of specifics with the iPhone 16 Pro as the iPhone 16, it's got the action button, which the iPhone 15 Pro had. It now also does have the camera control button, sorry, the camera control button. What? I don't know why Apple insists on not calling it a button. It's a button. In terms of, again, faster processor, better cameras. So you've got the 48 megapixel fusion cameras. I think it's the same as the iPhone 16. You've then got the ultra wide. You've got the 5 times telephoto. So that's the big difference in terms of cameras, for me at least, between the iPhone 16 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro, because with the iPhone 15 Pro you had to get the bigger camera, which is what I'm filming myself on right here, to get the telephoto lens, whereas and you didn't get the telephoto lens on the 15 Pro, but now at the 16, with the 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Plus, you get the telephoto on both of them. So that's nice. Before we go outside and have a play with the camera control button, I don't know why they can't call it a button, with the camera control, I do want to have a quick jump into the settings here and show you some interesting things, because the action button can be, it can work on various different things. The camera control button can only work with cameras. Now, at the moment, it only works pretty much with the built-in Apple camera. I think it works with a couple of other apps, but Apple has opened up the system so that other camera apps, like, so for example, the Moment app, or Pro Camera, or Halliday, or Blackmagic, or what have you, they will be able to use the camera control button with that. But I wanted to have a quick look here in the settings, because if we go into camera settings and we go to camera control, which Apple again refuses to call a button, but if we go to camera control, I notice something interesting. So you can have it give you a clean view, which means when you bring up the camera control, the camera settings of the software disappear. So that's kind of cool. I like that. You can have it launch with a single click, or you have to launch it with a double click. But then down here, it's not just locked to the camera. So it's locked to camera related stuff, but you can make it so that when you push the camera control button, it either launches the camera, it launches your code scanner, so like QR code scanner, a magnifying glass, or it does nothing. So you do actually have a little bit of control over the camera control in settings. Now, I'm going to show you how to get to camera styles when we're playing with the camera outside, but I wanted to show you a little bit about this while we're here in the app, in the settings. So a thing to know about camera styles, because they've changed a bit. So before Apple had these things, they were basically like filters. So, you want to add it, make it black and white, you want to add a little bit more orange, a little bit more this, a little bit more that. Those were what you had on iPhones before iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. And those styles were what we call baked in. So if you applied that style to your photo, you couldn't undo the style afterwards. Whereas now, one of the big things is when you apply a style, again, they weren't called styles before, they're called styles now. When you apply a style now, you can change your mind later and take that style off, or you can apply it after the fact. So here we go. In app settings, you can go photographic styles. And if we go to standard, we go photograph to begin with. Let's go. Okay, so let's have a quick look in this. And so I can just apply that to, let's go with these ones. We go, yep, continue. And to swipe between styles, tap on each photo to see them in detail. So that's your standard. That's your amber. And have a look here. So I can tap on this and I can actually adjust the amount of amber undertones it applies. You've got gold, you've got rose gold, you've got neutral, you've got cool rose, and you can adjust any of those settings. If I go, right, let's go continue with cool gold. And now, check out what you can do. So I can swipe up and down to adjust. How cool is that? So you've got a lot of sort of manual controls over how those styles look. So they can look one way, so like really extreme or not anything at all, but then you can even adjust that more. And again, I might do an entire video just on these styles and sort of digging in a bit more, but then we can go save tone and color, and you can start again or you can finish. But that is now my cool rose style. So that is a quick look at the styles feature of iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. Last thing before we go outside is in video record, where you can go slow-mo, you can do up to 4K 120. And so you can shoot 4K 120 frames per second and slow it down by 4 times. And I'll show you an example of that in a little bit. I know I keep saying one last thing and then we go outside, but another thing with photos is if we go into photos and then we go into formats, and so you got high efficiency with cameras, but if we go down to where have we got here with the Pro RAW formats, a new format that Apple has introduced is in the Pro RAW options is a lossy. So have a look at this. So if I go to JPEG lossless, which is the most compatible one, my 48 megapixel photo is 75 megabytes on average. I mean, it's not a perfect thing, but on average it's going to be that. But if we go down to JPEG lossy, which is the new one, down to 20 megabytes as opposed to 75, which is huge. So you've got some pretty cool options as well in terms of things you can do with the camera just by coming in and having a little bit of a play with the camera settings. Again, I'll do an entire video on this on its own, but that's the kind of stuff that I want to... I know, one last thing, spatial audio. So this, I'll have to make a video to demo this properly for you. But what it is that, and this is on iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. I think you do have this on the 16 as well. It's got 4 microphones in it, and it tries to capture as best as possible. Now, I'm really pedantic when it comes to sound and audio. The most important thing you need to know about audio is ideally you want to get your microphone as close as possible to the source of the audio you want to capture. So for example, with me, the audio I want to capture right now is what's coming out of my mouth. So my microphone is over here on my chest, and hopefully you didn't hear it ripping some hairs off that said chest. But so my microphone's there, and it's going to a wireless transmitter, that's going into the camera, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. So you're not going to get amazing sound quality if someone's standing across the room. But if you're filming someone, you know, sort of just like that sort of thing, or even like that, those microphones can do a really impressive job. And it's doing some, for lack of a better word, magic in terms of stuff you can do in post. And again, there's other videos out there where people have had early access to the phones, they've done demos of it. Have a look at their demos, it's pretty stunning. I will try and do a demo as soon as I can. In fact, I might try and insert a demo right here if I can. So this is a quick demo of the sound deadening stuff that you can do. Unfortunately, I'm not in a particularly loud environment, but there is quite a lot of sound around here. You can hear the pitter-patter of the rain, the wind's picking up. So hopefully there's enough sort of background sound that you can hear what the sound isolation is doing. I will, in more of an in-depth video, do a proper demo of, in fact, the wind's just picking up. I'll do a proper demo, like I go into the city or something, and show you how good this can really be. Hopefully I just inserted a demo, and that's sort of what you can do, that you can actually adjust things in post as well. So that's pretty darn cool. So, and I think finally, that is everything that I wanted to show you in the settings on iPhone 16 Pro and 16. Now let's jump outside and actually do some stuff with cameras. Now let's have a quick look as to how this camera control button, I'm going to keep calling it a button, works. So you push down once hard to bring up the camera settings and bring up the camera, and then you sort of half push down to get your controls, and that by default allows you to zoom. But if you half push down twice, and it does take a bit of getting used to, you can then go to different things, like you can go to your camera, you can go to styles, you can go to tone. And so for example, if I go into camera and then half push down, I can select my 2x zoom, my 5x zoom, my different cameras, and I'll just sort of stick to the number 1. It does take a bit of finicking. So again, half press down twice to get out of that, and then you push down once completely to actually take a photo. So you push and that takes a photo, and then if you push and hold, as you saw there, it will start recording video. One other thing that I don't like about this is you got to keep holding down to keep recording the video. It only will, you know, if I let go, it then stops recording the video. But a nice thing is that when you bring up these controls, you notice how all the menu settings disappear, and you sort of get a au naturel, just the photo screen. So that's kind of nice. And then your photo settings come back when you let go of that. And that is the camera control button on iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. One thing to look at is cases. So I've got the Beats case here, and you'll notice that instead of a cutout, so some, you know, I think the cheaper cases will probably have a cutout, but this actually got like a little capacitive sort of jobby to sort of pass through the settings. And I haven't tried it, so let's try it. So if we just put that in the case, that should pass through. Yep, and then sort of half press, and actually I tell you what, using it with the button, with the case, at least for a moment there, felt a little bit easier. Yeah, that half press, it is going to take some getting used to, but there you go, I did get there eventually. And there you go, that is the camera control button, not a button, on iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. 120 frames per second, a story told in a single act. Hey, can I tell you something? Of course, you can tell me anything. I'm sleeping with your wife. Okay, no, I deserved that. So that was my not so quick first look at iPhone 16 and 16 Pro. I think Apple's done a really good job in terms of the features and functions that they've added. I'll do loads more videos about loads more things that's in there and try and be a bit more specific with different stuff. But just off the bat, look, I think if you're on a 15 or a 15 Pro or a 14 or 14 Pro, unless there are features that you absolutely have to have, you don't need to upgrade. But this is the thing with iPhones. They're such a mature product these days that most people are not like me who, oh, I must have the latest and the greatest. You know, most people are absolutely fine with getting, you know, every 2 or 3 years a different model and things like that. So if there's feature and function that I've shown you that go, oh, that's really cool, that's worth the upgrade, then I think it should be worth the upgrade to you. That's, with all of my videos, I don't want to say that you should or shouldn't be doing something. I sort of want to show you what it does and then leave it up to you to decide whether the things that I've shown you make you go, ooh, I want that, or ooh, I need that, or oh, that's cool, but I can live without it. It's entirely up to you. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was useful. If you have found it useful or helpful, please like and subscribe. For those who have already subscribed, thank you so much for your support, and we'll catch you on the next one. Okay, 16 lies about iPhone 16. Not only does the iPhone 16 make you breakfast, but that breakfast will be halal and vegan. The operating system is no longer called iOS. It's actually a version of Windows 95 or Windows ME. Both need to be installed with 95 different disks. Apple has removed the Bionic chip from iPhone 16 and replaced it with 2 squirrels who are both called Cedric. When you push the camera button, the iPhone no longer takes a photo. It actually pushes out 3 crayons, 2 gray and 1 yellow, and you have to draw what's in front of you. iPhone 16 is still waterproof up to 10 meters, but now it will cry if you use it near onions. The screen is 2,000 nits, but unfortunately if any of those nits die or move away, you have to go to your local school and pick up some extra. iPhone does still have capacitive touch on the screen, but you do have to ask consent before you touch it. Apple may have gone a little bit overboard with the new MagSafe connector. It's now advised to not use it anywhere near your face if you have more than 3 fillings. It doesn't ship with a case or a cover, but now oddly in the Notes app, there is a note on how to 3D print your own. The iPhone now has 3 cameras, a wide and ultra wide, and one that can see into next week. The Face ID now doesn't only just unlock your phone, but it'll say something nice about your hair. Unless of course you turn on Sassy Siri, in which case it'll say, you probably look like you need a nap. On the new iPhone, you do have built-in satellite connectivity, but you also have to do 5 years worth of yoga in order to fold yourself into the right position to actually get that transmission for half an hour. Apple has now included a lifetime warranty, but it only covers the volume up button. To get a more realistic experience in mail, you will now get a notification that it tried to deliver your mail, but you weren't home, and so it's returned the mail to the depot and you have to go pick it up. The Home app will now allow you to access 50 new features, but it only works at your parents' place. And finally, with the purchase of any new iPhone, you get a lifetime subscription to all the music in Apple Music except for U2. Too soon? It's got a lot more girth than the iPhone 60. Girth is not the right word. That's not the right word. Black glass. Wearing a blue, not a t-shirt. It's a polo. Come on, you can do this. You can get words out of your mouth. Okay, no, I deserve that. Oh, there's washing stuff in there. That's not water. Oh, okay, I gotta rinse this off. Oh, yeah, ugh.